Hey there, YouTubers. I'm going to do an update on a product review on this Duracell Powerpack 600. It is now 6 years old, and I'm happy with it, and it still works, kinda. So we'll get into that. First about it is, it weighs about 30 pounds, I think 32 pounds. It has an AGM battery inside it with like 26 amp hours, so it's not huge, but it works. It's 480 watts, and it's got like a peak of 600 watts, and it's 60 hertz. It has a light on it. Yay, see there's a light, still works. There's 3 110 outlets. There's a battery sensor, tells you how much charge is left. On the side, it has a 12 volt. So, now getting into this particular one. I think 6 years is pretty good. This spot down here fits these. These are jumper cables. And I swear to you, I've probably used them a dozen times. And this has enough power to jumpstart my RV. And like I said, I've done it at least a dozen times. It's worked every time, even when the battery seems pretty low and I'm nervous about it. So the great thing about this alone is having that ability. If you're out in the middle of nowhere by yourself, being able to jumpstart your vehicle if something goes wrong is very good. It has 12 volt output, and on the back here, on the back it has a radio. Radio still works. Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers album. See? That's the good stuff about it. In my RV, this also serves as my footrest, where I tend to sit a lot in my like entertainment and dining room area. This often is my footrest. But we will go into the problem I've had with it. Well, let's go back here first. If you can see this, I've had to fix that because that's where you plug it in. You can charge this with 110 from the wall. You can charge it with 12 volt. You can charge it while you're driving, which is actually pretty friggin' cool. A good option to have. And you can charge it by a solar panel, which I have. I'll show you the solar panel. But that's messed up because one day I went to move this, and I was standing on the cord for the solar panel, and I broke that all up. And recently it got repaired better. And there's the solar panel. It's a 30 watt panel. I think this cord's maybe 20 feet, and it plugs into the same place that the 110 plugs in. I used that. I was down in Key West for most of a winter, and I used that quite a bit. And again, this only being a 30 watt panel and only being a small battery pack, you're not going to power everything, but you can power lights and you can power a fan to keep it going and all that good stuff. So having that solar panel is pretty cool. All right, now we're going to get back to where I said it works mostly. It has an inverter inside it, which makes these 110 outlets work. Yay! Well, it don't work anymore. Keeps alarming. I took it apart and fiddled with it. I couldn't figure it out. So I gave it to my neighbor, who's like an older guy. He's in his 70s, and he's one of those he can fix anything kind of guys. And I said, you know, I don't know what to expect from it, but if you want to fiddle with it, that would be fine. So he took it all apart, and he couldn't get these to work either, and he did a whole bunch of research, called the company, and basically it sounds like the inverter inside this has gone bad. And they're, you know, this is old, it's not produced anymore. If you look around, you can find a newer version of this Duracell battery pack, which does a lot of the same things. But their basic recommendation to him on the phone was, well, check eBay, you know. So conclusion I've come to is, okay, the 110 doesn't work. My battery thing still works, and my 12 volt still works. So I can power things off of 12 volt with it, and I can also put an inverter for some smaller things. You know, if I want the kind of inverter that you put in your car, little like 150 watt inverter, I can plug that in to the 12 volt and use something if it becomes an emergency. But I'm at the point where I'm basically keeping it for the 12 volt and the jumpers. So after 6 years, Obviously, it's not perfect, but it still works. And I'll show you. This is a 12-volt fan. So if I turn it on, I'm sure you can hear that. So I can still use it. It's just not everything that's supposed to work will work anymore. The inverter's gone, but if I want to charge something 12 volt or put the adapter in and charge like USB kind of stuff, I still have it. The newer ones, these can be kind of expensive. I got it, like I said, 6 years ago on a pretty good price. So I'm going to use it until it doesn't work anymore. But after 6 years, I'm not thrilled, but it still works. And it's been 5.5 years it worked fine. It just, about 6 months ago, the inverter stopped working on this thing. So overall, I'd still call it a decent purchase. And if you're looking for something like this, you know, a smaller little battery kind of thing with an inverter, I'd still recommend the Duracell products, whatever the new one is that's about this size. I use this a lot too, where I can take a 12-volt bike pump up my bike tires, and if anything ever got terrible where I had to try to pump up the RV tires, I've put some air in the tires using this before. So even though the inverter doesn't work, there's a lot of 12-volt uses for it. So that's my review. If you're looking at buying a new version of this, I don't think 6 years is a terrible amount of time to have one part of it go, although a main part. So there's my 6-year review. I will give this a mostly thumbs up, and it still comes in handy. I wish that the inverter didn't go out on me, but I still would recommend buying this or whatever their newer model is for somebody. It's really handy. It's helped me a bunch of times. Being able to jump your RV when you're all alone, that alone is a pretty darn good thing to have. So overall, like I said, I'm mostly thumbs up. If it was 6 months ago, it'd be a full thumbs up. I would never been happier. But now we've ticked down a little bit. Hope you enjoyed the review and that you have a great and wonderful day.